Hello and welcome to After the Whistle. I am your host, Brian Dorrington, here with Macho Man Mukala Kabungo.
It's a good day. You see the shirt?
I like this shirt.
This is one of the best cartoons ever.
Top
two cartoons.
Never really got into Tom and Jerry.
Oh, you're missing out, man.
What's the other one in the top two?
Looney Tunes, of course.
Really?
Yes.
I think I'm a South Park guy, and I think that's really the only animation that I like.
Dragon Ball Z?
No.
Oh, come on.
I never really got into that. I did love, back in the day, Doug and Hey Arnold, those Nickelodeon ones.
Those ones are
those
great.
are my
Those
jam.
ones are great.
Not so much
Darkwing Duck.
What is it?
Darkwing Duck.
No, I don't know that either.
You don't know Darkwing Duck?
No, and so far, I mean, I'm sure the audience that's tuned in for sports has already changed the channel. So we'll skip the cartoon talk, and we'll get into some sports. We'll start with the Patriots' second preseason game.
Awesome.
The big news that just broke is first round draft pick of this year, Isaiah Wynn, is out with a torn Achilles for the entire season.
Preseason.
That hurts. That
hurts a lot. Yes, that hurts a lot because they were revamping that offensive line. They did lose Nate Felder, so yeah, just now they got to change everything once again. And they were saying it was an ankle injury at first.
I did hear that. I did hear
were,
ankle fracture, but now ESPN is saying that it is a torn Achilles, which is much worse.
Yeah, so it's going to be some time before he gets back on the field. And you know, with Achilles injuries, those are always the hardest to recover from.
They could be career-ending, especially for a guy of his size, a 300-pounder.
A guy who moves, too. He was a guard, correct?
No, he was a tackle. But a lot of people thought that he would make the transition to a guard in the NFL. Mm-hmm. But I think that he's been playing backup left tackle. There was some talk about moving him over to the right.
Okay.
Because Trent Brown's probably going to be the starting left tackle. Now everything's up in the air. And I thought Nate Felder should have been the number one priority last offseason because blindside quarterback, left tackle position, arguably the second most important position in football besides the quarterback.
Definitely, because that's the quarterback safety net. That's the guy that, you know, if you mess up, then there goes your quarterback. So that's definitely a loss. But we'll see what they're going to do. What were some of your takeaways from last night's game?
Cordell Patterson. He impressed me.
Yeah.
He's a guy that is mostly known for special teams, kick returner, punt returner. Everybody knew he had speed. It's whether he could make that transition into that wide receiver role, and he did. I mean, granted, he wasn't running complex routes, but he was doing enough to where they put him in a position to where his athleticism could take him into the end zone. He finished with not a very impressive stat line. If you just look at that, he had 4 catches for 15 yards and a touchdown. But Hoyer missed him on a bomb where Cordell Patterson had at least a step and a half on the guy.
Yeah.
It was just a bad throw by Brian Hoyer. If it was any other quarterback in the league, it would have probably gone for a 60-something yard touchdown. So I have some faith in Cordell Patterson. Who's some other highlights for you?
I think he's going to be a key piece because he's one of those prototype New England players, a versatile player. He could be in the backfield, he could be in the slot, he could be on the outside, special teams. So they could use him in various ways. James White stuck out to me. 4 rushes, 31 yards, 6 catches, 61 yards. He had that long touchdown run, and he's just doing what he always does. Be effective in the running game, be effective in the passing game, and that's how they use him. That's how he's been utilized his entire career. So it was good to see him have a good game. Brian Hoyer,
God man, I think we need to do something with the backup quarterback.
He was not good. He was not good at all. He missed some throws. He was just not accurate, and I don't understand why he's even on the team. I don't. He knows the system, but he's just not a good quarterback. He's not a good backup
I guess that's part of it. Maybe, I guess more of the role of a backup quarterback is, of course, they have to step in, but game planning-wise, knowing the system, being able to help with the quarterback, offensive coordinator, and coach, they have that other eye there. So there is some benefit with his knowledge of the game, but he's not a guy you want stepping up when Brady goes down. So if Brady can't go down this year,
no, at all. So
or else we'll be losing to the Jets.
Yeah. So my thinking is there's going to be a lot of emphasis on the run game this upcoming season, short passes just to keep Brady safe. Also, what stood out was defense. They had 8
Pass
sacks.
rush, especially. Yeah,
They had 8 sacks in that game, and they also had a nice fumble return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So they were flying around out there.
Who was that guy I know that Claiborne was the one who got the strip sack. Who was the guy who got?
I don't even know who got the. I don't even know.
Oh, Bentley. Guy Bentley.
Yeah. So
that looked pretty good.
It was good to see the defense play that, flying around, just get to the quarterback, which is now if they could do this during the regular season on a consistent basis, then we'll have something here. But right as of now, yesterday was a good sign. And also they had a better start than they had from last week's first preseason game. So overall, this was a solid preseason game. Were you surprised Brady threw the ball 26 times?
Kind of, yeah. But maybe he wanted to show people that the back injury or supposed back injury last week was nothing. Mm-hmm. But Brady loves to play. He's a competitor, and he was Tom Brady. What's his stat line? I have it right here. 19 for 26, 172 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the first half. So Tom Brady is still Tom Brady. Granted, it's preseason, but it's good to see that a 41-year-old quarterback even just can still get it done, and he's on the same page.
Get his feet wet. There was some other preseason games. The Packers versus
Well, before
the
we
Steelers.
move on from that, I just have two questions that I want you to weigh in on.
Yeah.
And they're people. Do you think Eric Decker and Jason McCourty make the team?
No.
Neither of them?
No.
I don't think Decker will make the team because he had some drops, but I do see Jason McCourty coming in as a cornerback slot, and I do think that Devin McCourty has probably one of the better relationships with Belichick, and I think that his morale would totally be defeated if McCourty's gone. I don't know if Bill Belichick's the type to weigh into that emotional crap, but I think Jason will make the team. I do see Decker being cut.
Yeah, Decker's not good at all. I've never liked him. He's soft.
Well, your team was pretty good with the Broncos and the Jets, but you're right. He is soft. He's not a blocker.
No, at all. If you want to know about Eric Decker, you just got to watch that Super Bowl against Seattle. He was non-existent.
Yes.
He was so. But there were some other preseason games happening. Packers versus Steelers. I just want to highlight a few players from the Packers. DeShone Kizer, he had a good showing yesterday. 7 of 12, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks.
See what happens when you take a guy out of Cleveland?
Yeah, Cleveland's the abyss.
Yeah,
it's like the black hole. You go in there and you just forget how to play football. Jake Kumaro, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He had 3 catches, 114 yards, which is solid.
Really?
Yeah.
So I didn't catch this game.
Yeah, I was skimming through. I saw the highlights and then the stats. So this was the Packers. They need a backup for Aaron Rodgers badly. They need one that can pick up the load or just keep the ship afloat if Aaron Rodgers ever to get hurt. Because last year we saw Brett Hundley. He couldn't do it. They didn't have a solid plan if Aaron Rodgers got hurt and their season went the way they did. But so far they've got some players. And also for the Steelers, Joshua Dobbs, 12 for 18, 192 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Mason Rudolph, 5 for 12, 47 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Who's one of the guys I liked.
Yeah, he was one. And
he looked like a rookie, I'm guessing. Like I said, I didn't see the highlights, but that sounds like rookie preseason stats.
James Washington, 5 catches, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
I think he's gonna be that player in the slot to replace Martavis Bryant. Mm-hmm. So I think he's gonna be their third option for the Steelers because their offense is flinging it around, hand it off. So that's that. And the Jets, they have a nice little QB situation happening. Teddy Bridgewater or Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, he had a okay outing yesterday. 8 for 11, 62 yards.
And they have McCowan too, who might be their day 1 starter.
Yeah, but Sam Darnold's gonna start by week 8.
If he doesn't, Sam Darnold very well could start week 1.
He could. But I don't think the Jets are going to throw him in there right away. They might wait a little bit, but at some point in the season, he's going to be starting. It might be after the first month, but He's going to be starting sooner rather than later.
Now I'm going to make a prediction and say Teddy Bridgewater doesn't stay on that team for the season. I think a quarterback's going to go down. They're going to need somebody to step in as a backup. And I'm sure the Patriots right now, I know that they like Brian Hoyer, but I'm sure that they're looking around and thinking, especially after last night, we need a backup.
Definitely.
Maybe Teddy Bridgewater is one of the guys they make a trade for. Who knows? But they're definitely watching some backup guys and maybe even some of these third-string guys and really analyzing them, maybe make a trade for Hoyer. At least if you're not Bill Belichick, I know you're not watching the show, but that's something that you should be doing.
I think he's watching. He should take
so?
our he needs to heed our advice. In other Patriots news, you had wanted to talk about Tom Brady's contract.
Yeah, it's been a
topic of
the city, a lot on Sports Talk Radio. He wanted more money. They gave him $5 million in incentives. I think he wanted a contract extension. A lot of people say this is a spitting in Brady's face, and it was unfair. But Tom Brady, you took a pay cut for years. Now that you're 41, you want to ask for more money?
Yeah.
You should have done that a long time ago. And I'm a huge Brady fan, but I'm not going to commit to a 41-year-old quarterback for 2-3 years like he wants.
No.
Year by year with that guy.
Yeah.
Year by year.
Yeah. The last 40-year-old quarterback we saw what happened. Brett Favre, I still have that image of him just laying on the field in the cold
was that when he was from Minnesota, right?
Yeah, he was in Minnesota. He was
Broken
just laid.
jaw.
Yeah, he was just laid there. So that's my last image of a 40-year-old quarterback in the league. And especially at this age, just anything that could be it for him. It's because the recovery is not the same when you were 31 or 21 or whatever. But year by year basis. Just performance-wise, because he's always ready to play. He always keeps himself in shape, and he always performs. But it's just you're 41.
Yeah, you got to do what's best for the team. I mean,
it's a young man's game,
right? And Brady's beloved around here. I think that's why it's rubbing some people around the way. But I'm a team first type guy. I just noticed you got some brownies there at the table.
Yes, I do.
You getting a little. You got two. I'm guessing you brought one for me to share. Maybe during one of our segments, I'll steal one. All right, let's move on to
my new favorite player.
Yeah. Oh well, it's Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey. This guy he might be my new favorite player.
He's like almost a little bit like Joel Embiid, except a little bit more unhinged.
No filter.
No filter.
No filter whatsoever. So Jalen Ramsey he did an interview with GQ magazine, and they asked him they asked him a lot of questions, and they asked him some questions about some quarterbacks. And I don't know what, at some point in the interview, he just went off on a lot of quarterbacks. So my favorite was he said Joe Flacco sucks.
Yeah.
He said Matt Ryan's overrated.
Which I will agree with.
He said Dak Prescott is good. He's okay. He's all right. But the offense runs through Zeke. He said Eli Manning isn't good. He just has Odell. Odell makes Eli Manning look good. So this was the best interview I've ever read in my life.
He did like Brady.
He liked Brady. He liked Aaron Rodgers. There was a long list of quarterbacks.
A long list.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend if you didn't read the article, at least read his analysis of quarterbacks.
The Joe Flacco one made me laugh when he said Joe Flacco just sucks. Oh, what else he said? He said Andrew Luck isn't that good. He said Deshaun Watson's is going to be a future MVP, him and Carson Wentz. So he did like some quarterbacks, but man, this.
Now, what do you think? Do you like that?
Yes.
And what do you think from the coach's perspective? How's the coach like that?
I'm sure the coach is probably rolling his eyes, but this is who he is. He's been like this since he got drafted. He's a talker. And he's not one of those talkers that doesn't back it up. He actually backs it up. He'll talk the talk and he'll walk the walk. He can actually play. So it's not like you have to worry about him when it comes to game day. If quarterbacks want to take shots at him, they can. But he's proven that if you do take a shot at him, it's most likely getting picked off.
Oh, yeah. He's the new Richard Sherman pretty much. And he's probably the best cornerback in the league, arguably top three.
They have the best secondary in the league.
Yeah, I think they do have the best secondary in the league. But I think, and I do like this too. It always adds more intrigue to the game. I'm sure some wide receivers got totally offended, and you know that they're going to do some pushing and shoving, which I always love. And I think quarterbacks are going to target him now to see, you know what, test him. And maybe that's what he wanted. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Go ahead, target me. I think he's that confident where, like you said, he's going to make, they're going to be challenged. They're going to throw it, and he's going to make some picks. And it also, you just can't get beat, Jalen, because if you get beat, it's going to come back and haunt you, okay? You better have a Pro Bowl season.
Which I'm pretty sure he will. And also, when you're an elite cornerback, you don't get the ball thrown in your direction. So you spent most of the games just standing on one side of the field, locking down your side of the field, not getting any action. So this is probably another way of him just to, throw the ball over here so I could get some action. So
absolutely.
Jalen, they play the Patriots week 2.
And his jerseys are the highest selling in Jacksonville. Yeah. It's amazing Blake Bortles doesn't have the highest selling jersey.
There's a few reasons. And we move on. Some more Kaepernick news. So John Elway, I believe it was in an interview, he said that the Broncos wouldn't be signing Kaepernick, and they had offered him, they had a chance to sign him, but Kaepernick refused. Now, it was kind of misleading because it made it seem like they recently tried to sign Kaepernick, but this was in 2016, I should say, when they were attempting to trade for Kaepernick at that time when he was with the 49ers. This was before the whole national anthem, the kneeling began. So he
was not kneeling when.
Yeah, this was in the spring. I think it was just a couple months before the offseason started. Free agency started. So they were gonna trade for Kaepernick, and he wanted Kaepernick to take a pay cut, which Kaepernick refused because it was a significant pay cut, and I didn't blame him for not taking that pay cut. And so the way the interview, he kind of left that out. So people were thinking that this just happened, or Kaepernick is just making these demands, but it wasn't. It was at a time when it was like, I'm not taking a pay cut.
And I think this actually strengthens the collusion argument that Colin Kaepernick and his attorneys are saying, because you wanted Colin Kaepernick the year before. How come you haven't signed him the year after or the year after that? You expressed some interest. If you really thought that he was a good player that you were going to trade for, why have you walked away now? Is it because the national anthem, which I think we all think is probably the case? So I think it actually might come back to bite John Elway for that, and I think it strengthens the collusion case.
That whole interview it just seemed like he was disingenuous about the whole thing, and also. Paxton Lynch is your quarterback. You brought back Brock Osweiler. Who else have they had a quarterback? Trevor Siemian.
Oh, Siemian, yeah. Well, I'd rather him over Paxton Lynch.
For a Hall of Fame quarterback, he has bad judgments in bringing in quarterbacks.
But they have Case Keenum now, which I think he can do a good job. He had a good season. I think he's serviceable.
He's serviceable, but I think they're an 8-9 win team right now with Case Keenum. So. I don't know. You would think he'd be better at picking quarterbacks. He did. Granted,
he got Peyton Manning.
He got Peyton Manning, but it was.
It's been downhill since that.
Yeah, it was downhill from that because Peyton Manning was like his first 2 years with the Broncos. It was like this, and then it just. Granted, he won the Super Bowl, but it wasn't pretty. He did not have the best of season, so that was more of the defense, and then we move on. Lane Johnson, your guy.
My guy? What do you mean, Lane Johnson?
This guy, he's been going.
I really didn't. To be honest, I had heard the name, but I really didn't know who Lane Johnson was.
Yeah. So he's been since winning that Super Bowl. He's just been going on these tirades talking about the Patriots and how the Patriots way is not fun and all this other nonsense. And he did it again, I believe, a couple of days ago. Just.
Completely trashing,
reiterating his statement, and it's like, what are you getting? What is the point of you doing this? You guys won the Super Bowl. You guys are the best team in the NFL. What are you getting out of this? And he said it's because Bill Belichick apparently disrespected their coach during the Super Bowl. And he said when he told the coach you guys had a great season. I guess Lane Johnson found that to be disrespectful.
I think maybe he's thinking like it worked for Jalen Ramsey and some of the other guys, and maybe I can jump in. Yeah. But he's not doing a good job. No. He's just whining, complaining. He's not entertaining. If you could be entertaining and engaging and have some actual nice commentary that's insulting all the same, I can get on board with that. But he's not entertaining
at all. And it doesn't make sense either because there was no reports of any, not even from their head coach who. Of Bill Belichick being disrespectful. I think
he's an idiot. Look at him. He looks like an idiot. Look at that face.
Well, when you're off those PEDs.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So Lane Johnson, you are not liked by either of the hosts on After the Whistle. You're gonna have to deal with that one.
Now, before we go to our fantasy no huddle, we're gonna break down fantasy, the top quarterbacks. We got our top quarterbacks analysis today. So you want to go first, or should I go first?
You know what? Why don't you?
All right, so
first of all, let's just say that this is for fantasy purposes, not necessarily who we think are the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, fantasy. If you play fantasy football, you take our advice, you might win your league. And if you don't, it's not our fault. All right. So in the top 10 quarterbacks, I have number 1, Tom Brady. I have Brady at number 1. He always puts up numbers. Brady always. Sometimes it's not big numbers, but he's always going to give you numbers in a competition. Cam Newton. I have him at number 2 because I think this Norv Turner, it's that Norv Turner. He knows how to use the quarterback strength, and I think we're going to see
Devin Funchess.
Don't remind me of that.
Okay, who's he going to throw the ball to?
Greg Olsen.
Greg Olsen. Okay, well he's got one.
DJ Moore too, the rookie. Watch out for the rookie. Matthew Stafford at number 3. He is a stats guy. He pats the stats. He doesn't get wins. But he'll have a 500-yard game, 3 or 4 touchdowns. They'll probably still lose, but that's Matt Stafford. Puts up a lot of stats, but can't get wins. Big Ben, what we've seen from Pittsburgh a couple years, they've just been slinging it. Deshaun Watson, I think he's going to have. He stays healthy. He's going to have.
What number are we at? Sorry, I just want to.
We are at number 5.
5. Okay.
Deshaun Watson, I think he's going to have a big year this year. Phillip Rivers, he's always consistent. Every single year, he's consistent. Carson Wentz, he's going to bounce back. Drew Brees, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Patrick Mahomes.
I think you missed a huge name.
Nope.
And I am really going to call you out.
Oh, you talking about Aaron Rodgers?
No, we'll get to it. Do you have a sleeper and a bust?
Sleepers, I have 3 sleepers. Mitchell Trubisky, Tyrod Taylor, Derek Carr.
Okay, Derek, right, so I'll go mine. You didn't mention Russell Wilson, did you?
No.
Did you forget about Seattle? Because Russell Wilson is number 1 on my list. I don't know. I've seen every quarterback rank him have at least in the top. He is the whole offense. Running quarterbacks always are an advantage in fantasy football, especially where some leagues only have DraftKings especially, passing touchdowns are only worth 4 points, where running touchdowns are worth 6, and some leagues are set up that way. Russell Wilson is my number 1 quarterback. I do believe he's going to put up lots of numbers this year. He's mobile. He's pretty much that entire offense. They're going to rely on him and Doug Baldwin. He's my number 1 guy. I'm taking him first off the board. Aaron Rodgers is coming in at number 2. He would be number 1 if he didn't have that injury last year, so he might come off to a slow start, but he does have a lot of weapons. Brady's coming in at number 3 for me.
Yeah.
I expect him to put up some big numbers, but he doesn't have the weapons or the mobility that Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson have. I do think he's a better quarterback. I'd rather have him leading my team, but fantasy-wise, I don't think he's going to put up as much as these guys. Number 4, Drew Brees. They're slinging it. I think Michael Thomas is one of the top 3 best receivers in the league. They throw the ball a lot. Number 5 for me, you mentioned Cam Newton. I don't think he has that many weapons, but he's another guy. He's mobile. He can make plays on his own. That's always helpful. 6, Deshaun Watson. He would be higher on my list, and he probably will finish better than 6th where I have him. But because of his injury last year, it might be hard to recover. Ben Roethlisberger comes in at number 7 for me, just because, like you said, that they sling it. Wentz, I've got him at 8. It's probably a little low. A lot of people are going to disagree with me, but another guy coming off injury. He relies a lot on his mobility. We'll see. Matthew Stafford's 9 for me. You're all right. They do fling it a lot. They do throw it a lot, but I think that they're on a downhill trajectory, and I think with Matt Patricia as their new coach, he's much more of a defensive coach. I don't know how he'll do managing a quarterback like Matthew Stafford. Number 10, I got Kirk Cousins. I think he's got two great receivers in Thielen and Diggs, and he's got Rudolph to throw the ball to as well. And then they've got Cook, who is going to be a great running back this year. Sleeper, Derek Carr, I agree. Bust, Jimmy G. Sorry, Jimmy G. You haven't proven it to me yet that you have it. I think Jimmy G is going to be a bust. There's been so much hype over him because he was a backup to Tom Brady. He might prove me wrong, but right now I'm going to tell you Jimmy Garoppolo will be a fantasy bust.
He's going to prove you wrong. And also, I'm not big on Kirk Cousins, so yeah, that's just me. I don't believe in Kirk Cousins.
We know you hate Kirk Cousins and Alex Smith. We know it.
All right, we're going to go to Kirk Campbell for our fantasy no huddle, and when we come back, we'll talk more news and all that good stuff.
News, good stuff.
All right. Welcome to No Huddle. My name is Craig, and you can watch my show, The Flex, every week. And today I'm here to give you my top 10 quarterbacks and a sleeper as well as a bust. Starting off with the number one quarterback in the NFL, the number one quarterback to ever live, and that's Tom Brady. Tom Brady has lost some wide receivers this year, but we know when Tom Brady steps on the field, every wide receiver becomes a potential star. Julian Edelman will be gone for 4 games, but I don't expect that to really hurt Tom Brady. He's going to make it work. He still has Rob Gronkowski. He still has Chris Hogan, and we just added Eric Decker, which I'm excited about. I'm a big Eric Decker fan. I don't know if I would draft him just yet, but at the end of the day, I think that the receivers we have right now are going to do the job, especially with the running backs we have running out of the backfield. At number 2, I like Deshaun Watson. I think that kid is going to be one of the greatest talents that we've ever seen. And on the team he has great wide receivers in Hopkins and Fuller. So I think that you're going to see a lot of good production out of him. So I like him at number 2. For number 3, I'm liking Carson Wentz. That kid is awesome. Like, I don't know, man. He's going to be the next. I think between him and Deshaun Watson, it's going to be the new Brady and the new Manning. So look for that competition to go down. But I like Carson Wentz at number 3. He does have a little bit of struggle at the wide receiver position. He has a great tight end in Ertz. He has a great slot receiver now in Nelson Aguilar, who's finally come and found his way. But Alshon Jeffries is a guy who's been off and on, and he's likely, as far as I've heard, going to start on the PUP. Number 4, I'm going to go with Drew Brees because he's just consistent. That guy's always going to give you production in fantasy, and you can't go wrong drafting him wherever he falls. Behind him, just because he's on a new team, he has great wide receivers, and his run game is going to be one of the best in the NFL, in my opinion, is Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins found a great home on the Vikings. I think the Vikings are going to be the number 2 team, and I think Kirk Cousins is going to lead them all the way to the bowl game. After him, I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers. I'm dropping Aaron Rodgers this low because he should be number 2, but with his prone to injury, he's too risky to put that high, in my opinion. I just think that I don't want to draft him, but if you're going to draft him, he is a good number 5 wide receiver. Number 6 quarterback. Moving on to Russell Wilson. I have a problem with Russell Wilson because he's not always consistent, but he is very talented and he's great at avoiding a tackle. So I would definitely look at Russell Wilson as a number 7. For number 8, I love Matt Stafford. I think that guy loves to air out the ball. He does it really well, and he has a good staff of wide receivers behind him, plus a great running back to catch out of the backfield. I am afraid to say Cam Newton, so I'm going to say Phillip Rivers instead. Phillip Rivers is consistent, man. He's going to get the ball out really well. And after him, I'm going to go with Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo has a lot to prove because he thinks he's better than Tom Brady, and in order to be better than Tom Brady, you need to prove it, and I think he's going to try to do that this year. Someone I'm looking to be a big boom for me, I'm thinking that if Andrew Luck is healthy, that he is going to return to greatness. So I think that Andrew Luck will be my sleeper. And for a bust, I'm looking at Andy Dalton, and I'm also looking at Jameis Winston. Neither one of those guys are consistent enough for me, and I think if you draft them, you'll regret it. So take a risk with Andrew Luck, but don't take it with Winston, and also don't take it with Dalton. That's my top 10 picks for fantasy quarterbacks, and I will see you on my show, The Flex. I'm Craig, and I'm out.
All right. Thank you very much, Craig. A lot of the same players that we had there.
Yeah.
At least he had Russell Wilson. I think he's a little low, but I'm going to just keep pushing Russell Wilson. He's never been injured. He's never missed a game in his career. He's durable. That's also what you want for a fantasy quarterback. I'm not so sure I agree with him on Phillip Rivers, but I don't know. We'll see. So now we're going to move on to NCAA. But Craig, great job. He's very, very valuable to the show, and he does know what he's talking about.
Make sure they check out his show too, The Flex.
Yeah, absolutely. Check out The Flex. It airs at Wednesdays at 9 p.m. So let's talk NCAA football. University of Maryland. Most of you probably heard. Jordan McNair is a player. He ended up dying of heat stroke
during off-season work,
during training. Yeah, during training, and the coaches are now suspended, and there's an investigation going on.
They're lucky they don't shut down the entire program for this, because the last time I remember when a player at a university died, the last one I remember was Baylor. Back in 2003, I believe one of the players was like selling drugs and he killed his teammate, and that whole program they gave it to that program. So it's really shocking that they haven't shut this thing down yet, because you can't do stuff like this. You can't overwork your players, especially young men. You can't, in the heat of all things, you can't. You're supposed to know your limits, and some coaches go the extra mile. They take it overboard. They try to be like drill sergeants and stuff like that, but you should know. They should know better. You have someone's child. You're pretty much someone's child, the guardian for someone's child, and the way they handle this is unacceptable. A player just can't die in your watch on your hands. So if I'm the parents, I take all caution. I'm suing the entire program. The school should shut down the entire program, to be honest with you. And I believe the trainer or the strength and conditioning coach, whoever it was, that was involved, I believe he used to be at Michigan. And somebody was trying to get in contact, try to reach former players just to get their thoughts about him. And they all say they have no sympathy for him because he just wasn't a good guy.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, it's clearly a tragedy. You hate to see any young life lost or any lost, especially when they had so much potential. I felt the exact same way you did until I started reading a little bit more, and it's come out that there's several parents and players who have came out and said that this is not a systematic issue at the University of Maryland, that this is a freak accident, that this isn't behavior that happens often, and it could be a freak accident. I think that there is an ongoing investigation now, and they didn't prematurely want to just, cut the program and get rid of the coaches. I agree with the investigation. I think if it comes out that there was clear negligence on the part of anybody on the coaching staff or in the athletic department, absolutely those people should lose their lives. And the program, you're right, they might just suspend the program for the entire year or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think where there's a lot of support for the coach and the team right now, I think that it's worthy of an investigation. And I think that they're doing the right thing by not doing an overreaction right yet. Because if we do cancel the program, a lot of kids miss the opportunity to play. And I just want to reiterate, it's an absolute tragedy.
Yeah, my thing is so colleges and university, they hold, when a player messes up, and sometimes it's not even the player's fault, the investigation they do doesn't justify why they give a certain player punishment. So,
I will agree with that.
So they hold the student athletes to this high standard of representing themselves in the best light to represent the school. They should do the same with the adults. These are adults. They should know better. They should know how to conduct themselves. They shouldn't make silly mistakes like this. They shouldn't, something like this shouldn't happen under adult supervision. So my only issue is when it's a student athlete that does something or screws up or makes a poor decision, the school just, they throw the book at him. But when it's an adult, they don't have the same energy as they would have with the student. That's my only issue.
You're right. You're definitely right about that. I think a lot of the big problem is it's much easier to suspend or get rid of a student than it is a coach or somebody who's actually employed by the university.
Yeah.
There's a lot of protections for these people. There's tons of appeals process where, a suspension is much easier to hand out. But your point is absolutely correct and well taken.
Yeah, so we'll see more as this investigation goes on. And college football is only a few weeks away, so...
Cool.
Let's give our little college football spiel as we at it. I was looking at the top 25.
I got it pulled up right here.
Yeah, so...
You want to just read the top 10?
Well, I have a breakdown.
Oh, you got a breakdown.
I have a breakdown.
Even better.
So there are 5 SEC teams in the top 25: Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, Mississippi State, LSU. 4 ACC teams: Clemson, University of Miami, Virginia Tech, Florida State. 5 Big Ten teams: Ohio State, Wisconsin, Penn State, Michigan State, Michigan. 5 Big 12 teams in the top 25: Oklahoma, TCU, West Virginia, Texas, Oklahoma State. 3 Pac-12 teams: Washington, Stanford, USC. Then Notre Dame, Boise State, and I believe Central Florida are also in that top 25. So it's interesting to see the power conferences with the number of teams in there.
Yeah.
And also to take note, Chip Kelly returns to college football as well, a new coach at UCLA.
UCLA.
Yeah, so that maybe
he's a much better college coach.
Yeah, maybe they'll break in the ring. They'll break in the top 25 at some point this year because Chip Kelly, he knows how to put young players in position, especially in college. He's a good recruiter. I think the state of California, he got a lot of recruits from there when he was at Oregon. So
if I'm UCF, I look at, they're ranked 23 right now. They finished last season undefeated, and I remember they challenged Alabama to be the real champion.
Yeah, they don't
if I'm them, I'm a little upset that I'm not even in the top 20. That I'm 23. But these are all preseason rankings. You never really know.
Yeah, it's all going to change by October.
Oh, it'll change October. I don't know what to make of this. I really don't. I didn't do any type of breakdown. You can't really know until you see them. And then there's always the surprise guys that come out here.
Yeah.
I do know that there's going to be a big quarterback controversy in Alabama. So that's going to be fun to see how that plays out. Do you have any early favorites? I mean, it's just random.
Early favorites right now is Alabama. I call the college football playoffs the Alabama Invitational. So
yeah, well, I think that is true.
Alabama,
it really has become that.
It's looking like Clemson and Alabama again that are going to be fighting for it. Georgia is another thing. They think, a lot of the experts think they have a chance of getting back to the national championship game. So those top 5 teams, because a lot of them have a lot of returning players back. So it's going to be a nice tight race as well, and then we're all going to argue by the time January
who should
comes
be in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. So
I'm rooting for UCF. I want UCF to go all the way. I like the underdog. I'm seeing right now that they're not really playing any powerhouse teams this year.
Yeah,
they got UNC.
Yeah, no.
I think that's probably the best team that they have.
Yeah, with all those players suspended from UNC too.
That's true. Yeah, they don't have a tough schedule.
Yeah.
That's one of the big problems with these smaller conferences. You got to go out and make a better schedule if you want to.
Most definitely. So, college, your favorite sport?
Where
golf.
Where are we going now?
We're going to golf.
It's not my favorite sport.
We're going to golf.
But it is become an entertaining sport as of recently, and people are actually writing about it and tweeting about it and talking about it.
Tiger Woods.
And it's because Tiger Woods is back. Tiger Woods finished.
Is he back?
Well, he's back. He's back playing on Sundays.
Yeah.
So when Tiger Woods playing on Sundays, if he's a few strokes behind or a few strokes ahead, people are going to tune in and they're going to watch. And he finished second in the PGA Championship. And I forget what he finished at in the Open, but it was high.
Yeah.
And Brooks Koepka won again. It's 3 majors in 2 years. He's not a household name yet, maybe because his name is kind of hard to pronounce and it looks funny.
Yeah.
And people name Brooks.
Good for him, but
good for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is good for golf because more people are going to watch when Tiger's involved.
I think Tiger has one more in him. I think he has one.
Think he's going to win a major?
I think he has one in him. I think after this showing, I think he may be able to squeeze one more in him, but we'll see. Golf is not the easiest thing to win, but when Tiger is competitive, everybody watches. Everybody tunes in. So, I mean, Tiger
Did you tune in? That's the main question.
I kept up on Twitter. I wasn't there on TV.
Okay, but you were okay.
Yeah,
you weren't on TV, but you were interested.
Yeah, I was catching up with the highlights. So Tiger Woods is golf.
Yes, right now, absolutely. And golf's so hard because it's not always the best golfer that wins. And it's really hard to predict.
It's just whoever gets the luck of the putt or whatever.
Yeah, it's a lot of how the course is designed.
Yeah.
What do we got? NBA next?
NBA, we got
Celtics schedule.
The Celtics schedule. We're just gonna break down some marquee games. They have opening night. They're going right at it with the Sixers. You know, Joel Embiid had a lot to say after they lost. This is turning into a nice little rivalry. I'm looking. I might be at this game.
You want to go?
I may be at this game because I like watching Joel Embiid play. This is always fun. Hopefully everybody stays healthy for the Celtics. We get to see the entire team because they did bring everybody back. They have their core team back. They have the injured players back. So this is going to be an interesting season for the Celtics.
And so is the next game, and I know that you won't go there because it's in Toronto.
No.
And you are not going to step foot in Canada.
Yeah, no,
but
I'm not going there.
The next game right after that is Toronto.
Yeah.
So you get the 3 best teams in the East Tuesday, then Friday.
And Kawhi.
Yeah.
But this is going to be interesting. And then they also have a game in October against Oklahoma City. So, they play the Knicks 3 times before January. On October 20th.
I'm looking at it now, and I guess.
October 20th, November 21st, and December 6th. But also the other marquee matchups for the Celtics. January 26th, the Warriors come to town.
Whoa, you can't skip the Christmas game in
Christmas
December.
Day game. Oops, I have it right here too.
Come on.
Christmas, Houston comes to town. That's gonna be a fun one. The 26th of January.
No, Houston is Philadelphia again. Houston, the
it's the
Celtics
day after. Houston's 2 days after. I'm sorry.
Okay, but on Christmas Day, what time we got? 5:30. So I'll still be awake probably. I'll just be getting up from my nap. We got the Sixers again.
That's gonna be
a home game.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I might be at that one too. I might be at a couple of these games.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of a Christmas at home guy. But
I went to the Christmas game last year. It was fun.
Yeah, so that's Celtics back on Christmas. That's great. Yeah. But then you're right. They got Houston right after that.
Yeah, and then February 7th, January 26th, the Warriors come to town. February 7th, LeBron and the new-look Lakers come to town, which is Celtics-Lakers is always going to be great. And then some other games and some other scheduled games in the NBA. Opening night, we have Oklahoma City versus Golden State right at it. That's going to be these two teams. There's a little rivalry, but it's more so the Warriors dominate them. Paul George is back, and people think OKC could go over that hump and actually have a chance to go to the finals. I don't think so, but that's just me. Then the Warriors-Rockets, they might go back to the conference finals, the Warriors and Rockets, for November 15th. And then also on Christmas Day, Lakers-Warriors, first time, the first game matchup.
It's going to be a fun Christmas day. Christmas is great as it is, but when you have good basketball, man.
And Oklahoma City and Houston, too, that's...
Yeah, three great games. Yeah, they did a real good job.
NBA needs to get here quick.
I think that they did something like Los Angeles, the Lakers now, have the most nationally televised games with like 41 or something. Do you think that's fair? Do you think that they should have more than Golden State?
No, but number one, it's the Lakers. Number two, LeBron's there. So
exactly.
Those two combinations, they just have to be on TV.
People
all the
are going to watch, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
think the defending champs should always have it.
Yeah, but athletes corner time. This time we had Brendon Felder along with his trainer Craig Campbell. I say Craig Campbell. Craig Griffin.
Craig Campbell.
Craig Griffin.
Too many Craigs.
Too many Craigs. We had them in here. Brendon is working on getting on the NFL roster, so check out the Athletes Corner. Welcome to another edition of Athletes Corner. I got two special guests with me today. I have Brian Felder and I have Craig Griffin. They're here. They're talking about Brendon's path back to the NFL, and we're going to talk about that and some other stuff. So welcome, fellas. How you guys doing?
Thank you.
Good, man. Thank you very much.
So Brendon, what's going on with you, man? You've been a busy man. You got a lot going on. So just tell me what's been your summer's been like.
Man, the summer's been a grind, man. It's been definitely a grind. Just trying to stay at it, get back, you know, get back in the best shape of my life, and just football stuff. You know, I've been with the kids a lot. Been down here with Craig, you know, with the flag football team, and just working on my craft.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you started off at the University of North Carolina, correct?
I did.
And then you transferred over to Pittsburgh?
Yep.
What made you decide to transfer to Pittsburgh?
So my freshman year, you know, we had that big scandal. We had, you know, everything was happening. I had Butch Davis as my coach, so things went along with that. We had a lot of accusations that happened. So that coach, Butch Davis, actually left. He left North Carolina. So once he left, I decided to leave to go get closer to home. You know, my family's from Pittsburgh. So.
And, well, you know, when you got to Pittsburgh, how was the transition very easy for you?
I think it was easy for me just because my whole family was there. Yeah. You know, my dad was there. We have a big family, so I just had a lot of support behind me.
Now, Coach, how long have you been, you know, helping Brendon? How long have you known him? How long have you been coaching him?
I met Brendon. We have a funny story, but I met Brendon way back in 2006. Real quickly, I'll just tell you how we met. So we was at a basketball game, and I think it was Everett against, at the time you were playing for St. John's Prep. So it was Everett against St. John's Prep, and I was there because my cousin, Isaac Johnson, was on the team. Okay. So I ended up sitting in the stands watching the game, and not knowing, I was sitting next to Brendon's father. Oh, okay. So as the game is going on, I'm rooting for Isaac. He's rooting for Brendon. Brendon's covering Isaac. They're going back and forth. You know what I'm saying? So then me and the father start bickering, and then next thing you know, he's like, "Wait a minute. So Isaac should cut." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, he's a good athlete." I'm like, "Yeah, I train him." He's like, "You train him?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, hold up. Let me get your phone number." Okay. So he took my phone number, and the next thing you know, I was training Brendon. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then we just, like I said, I was in 2006. So I worked with him all through his high school career. We was doing a lot of running. We was doing a lot of track work. We was doing a lot of speed and conditioning work. And then he got invited to the high school combine in Chelsea, Mass. And we went. And he tore it up. He killed it. He ran the fastest 40 days.
I heard you ran like a 4.40.
Well, I ran a 4.4 for pro day, but at that combine, I think I ran a 4.37, 4.34.
Yeah, I can't.
In high school.
Yeah, I can't even touch
in high school. You see what I'm saying? In high school. So it was a wrap after that.
Yeah. Now, you got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, correct?
Well, I got picked up. Yeah.
You got picked up.
Yep.
Okay, so you know when you got to Pittsburgh, what were some like NFL shocking? Did you have like I'm here right now? Did you have that type of moment?
So with me, like, I know everyone says it, but like with me, I think my mind's just programmed a little different. So once I got there, I probably expected more than I got. So so just knowing how I play and knowing just my journey, I kind of was there and was like, this is what I lived my whole life for. You know what I mean? So I was like, I actually felt like, you know, I don't want to say I was too much better, but I'm like, I actually felt in place. I felt like I wasn't shocked. I didn't feel any type of way. I felt really like an athlete.
Yeah, and you know, you had the unfortunate injuries happen. That injury is kind of made you take a backseat. And you know, what was your mindset when you had the injury? Then you know, you tried to come back, and then it just wasn't right for your level of play.
Honestly, it was definitely a life-changing experience, but it was for the better just because I'm so stronger mentally. But once I got hurt, oh man, I couldn't tell you. I went through a lot of just mental struggles. You know, I was depressed a little bit, but just because, you know, I worked my whole life just to get to that one point, and to get a setback like that from an injury, it was devastating. It was real devastating. But I feel like everything happens for a reason. Like God put me in that position for a reason, and right now it just built me up. It built me up.
Now, Coach, how are you guys? What are some of the things that you guys are doing, because he is working his way to get back to the league? What are some of the things that you're helping him with that could get him prepared when he gets that call for a workout or something?
So one of the things that I was explaining to him is that when he came and started working with me again, I was like, we don't want to lift a lot of weights right now because that's going to put a lot of bulk on you. Weights are very restrictive, and you just don't have enough time to really adjust to the new weight that you're going to put on from lifting really heavy. So I didn't want to take that route. I didn't want to slow him down. I didn't want to make him stiff. I wanted to keep him flexible, keep him conditioned, keep his conditioning up. So we took a different route this time. We did a lot of running and long distance running. So for instance, he would run 2.5 miles every single day and then get to the gym and run routes. Whatever resistance training we did, we worked with bands. We did a lot of band work to keep his muscles kind of like activated, but
and
not
loose, right?
so they're activated, meaning if he needs to call upon them to react, they're ready. But yet they're not. He's not really sore. He's not, fatigued and things like that. So the training was a little different this time, and what we found was that he just kept telling me every day, like, I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life.
Definitely.
Like he just kept saying, I feel good, I feel great, I feel good. So I'm like, okay, if you feel good, then we're gonna keep going with this. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to mess anything up because he could get a call any day.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what is that process like to get him back? What are some things that you have to do to get teams' attention, or do you just have people that you film something and you send it out, film a workout and you send it out, and then you just hear back, you get feedback?
So it's a combination of a lot of things right now. Since of course they're in preseason and everything, right now it's just sending my film out. Right now I'm doing a lot of routes. I have to send routes out. A couple weeks ago, I got invited to a workout in Houston in front of a couple teams. A couple teams were down there, so it's a combination of getting calls for a workout and a combination of what I'm doing on my own. So basically, how I take it is they just want to see what type of shape you're in. They want to see what type of shape, I'm in, especially from my injury. If I'm still in shape, if I'm keeping up in shape, just how I look.
Yeah, and is it kind of almost like, when you declare for the draft, it's kind of almost like pro days or pre-draft workouts? Is it similar to that?
It's that and a little bit more. It's a little bit more physically and it's a little bit more mentally, because you in the draft, it's kind of you just coming from college. You really don't know what to expect. I'm in a position where I know what to expect. Like I know everything, and I'm battling me knowing that I can play with everybody in the NFL, and I'm battling me just not getting the call, just waiting for the call. So I think that's the worst part, just waiting, just anxious to hear like what's next. What's next? Like I'm back and forth with people in my corner every day. I'm like, what's next? What this team say about me? What this team say about me? Are they taking receivers? Are they taking DBs? What they want? Like, so it's just like a combination of everything.
Yeah, definitely. Besides you getting back to the league, you both do work with the youth out here, especially with the flag football tournaments and also some of the youth football teams out here. Can you guys just talk a little about that, both of you guys?
So we do. We work with the kids on a bunch of different levels. So I own a gym. It's called CEO Fitness, and it's located in Melrose. And what we did is we started our own basketball program, and we started our own football program. So CEO Football is like the flag football league that we work with kids. CEO Basketball is the basketball program that we also work with kids. When Brendon came home, he's all in, you know what I mean? He's like family, you know what I'm saying? My kids love him, my wife loves him, he stays over my house. So it only made sense for him to come on and just help the kids. He has a lot of experience with football, so I feel like I got the edge over everybody, you know what I'm saying? Definitely. I got a real football player on my sideline, so. Yeah,
and I'm sure those kids, they just getting knowledge from you guys. It helps them a lot, or just seeing you guys out there. It brings joy to them. But we ran out of time. I told you 10 minutes go by fast. It flew by. But thank you guys for coming. Really appreciate it, guys. You guys are welcome back anytime. Just if you guys want to talk about updates or what you guys are doing, come back anytime. We can chat more about that. All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. You guys been watching Athletes Corner. Toss it back to Brian.
All right. Well, Brendon, we wish you the best of luck. 4.3, that is blazing speed. The one thing you can't teach is speed. Hopefully you get an opportunity somewhere down the line. We'd love to see that. Now, we don't have much time left, but we can give a quick rundown of the AFC East. You actually did it in about 5 seconds. Why don't you go ahead and tell the audience?
The Patriots going to win it. Everybody else is going to stink. I don't think any other team will make the playoffs. I don't think Buffalo will go back to the playoffs. The Dolphins, Ryan Tannehill's their quarterback. That's all you need to know. And the Bills, yeah, Josh Allen, that's their future. The Jets might be the Patriots' competition.
I don't know. Okay,
they might give them give them good games. I don't mean like competition-wise winning the division, but the games against the Jets will probably be the most competitive.
See, I feel like Buffalo plays New England better. Man. Who starts on day one for the Jets as quarterback?
It will be Josh McCown, day one, and by week 5 or 6, Sam
What'd
Darnold.
you call him?
McCown.
I thought you said McNown.
Oh, I probably did.
McNown. Josh McCown. Yes, so I agree with you. I think that Patriots are obviously going to win. I'm going to rank them. I'm going to say it's finished Patriots, Bills, Dolphins, Jets. I'm a little bit higher on the Bills than you are. We'll see how Allen does. Anyway, I think we're out of time. I'm going to throw it to Mukala to do the outro. Do your thing. You do it better than anybody in the business, or at least anybody on this show. That's for sure.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Today's my grandmother's birthday. She just turned 85 today.
Happy birthday, Grandma.
Happy birthday, Grandma. So, you guys, come back. Monday, we're showing, what's the movie called again? Loving
Vincent.
Loving
Again.
Vincent. We had some power issues on Monday. So, come back and watch it. LynnTV.org. Check everything else. Check us out on there. Candidate forums are up on there. Check out all the election stuff we're doing. We got a lot going on here. You guys, we thank you guys for watching and the support you're giving us. So we'll see you guys sometime next week. Maybe Steve will be back. We don't know if the Canadians kidnapped him.
I think he'll be back. I haven't heard from him. I think he's still alive. Fingers crossed.
All right. You guys have a great weekend. We're out of here.